Among the children of the giantess Angrboda and the god Loki, he was born Jörmungandr. He did not cry, did not wail, only opened his eyes, and the world seemed to shrink. Odin, father of the gods, seeing the aberration that had emerged from the giantess's womb, felt a dark premonition. Jörmungandr was not a baby, he was a warning. His body already twisted like a living chain, scaly and cruel. His eyes were not eyes, but mirrors of the end. And so Odin decided not to wait for the prophecy to fulfill itself. He threw the little monster into the deepest abyss of the earth, the ocean. But the sea did not kill him. The sea fed him. While the gods feasted in Asgard, while humanity learned to count the years, the serpent grew like a grudge harbored for ages. He grew so much that one day his entire body encircled Midgard from end to end. And then he bit his own tail, not to destroy himself, but to remain whole. It was the beginning of the eternal that the gods, unknowingly, had drawn as their own end. Jörmungandr was the omen made flesh, the ring that seals the worlds, the sky's sentence pronounced without sound. But he was not alone in the burden of birth. His sister Hel was sent by Odin to the world of the dead, a throne in exile. His brother Fenrir was taken to Asgard, only to be chained like a dog. Between hell, prison, and the ocean, thus were Loki's children treated. Not as children, not as beings, but as threats. And one day, destiny would come to collect. Thor, the god of thunder, hated the serpent, not for knowing it, but because he felt its presence with every tremor of the sea, with every whisper from the depths. One day, accompanied by other gods, Thor visited the land of the giants. They reached a colossal castle where the king of the Jotuns challenged them, but not with ordinary tests. They were trials veiled in sorcery. Thor was given a humiliating task, to lift a simple cat. He tried, he roared, he strained, and only one paw lifted. He was given a second trial, to drink from a horn. One gulp should have sufficed, but even after drinking with all his might, the liquid barely diminished. Finally, he was told to wrestle an old woman, and the old woman defeated him. Thor's pride was shattered. But at dawn, the truth was revealed. The cat was Jörmungandr in disguise. Every inch Thor lifted tore the serpent from the ocean's depths. The horn was connected to the sea, and he had nearly emptied it. The old woman was old age itself, and no one defeats time. Thor had been deceived by sorcery so powerful that only a god could have created it. And then a doubt burned in his soul. Was that King Loki? From that moment on, Thor swore to hunt the serpent, not for honor, not for justice, but for revenge. Years later, fate gave him another chance. The giant Hymir invited Thor on a fishing trip, but they did not know the gods were being led to their own abyss. Thor cast his hook into the sea, baited with a bull's head, and from the depths it came. The water rose as if the ocean were trying to flee from itself. The serpent bit the hook and Thor pulled. From the world's belly Jörmungandr emerged, eyes like craters, scales like mountains, two beings who hated each other but had never touched, now face to face. Thor roared. Jörmungandr fell silent. The battle was interrupted by fear, not of Thor but of the sea itself. Hymir cut the line. The serpent fell back into the abyss, and Thor, enraged, killed the giant with a single blow. But the serpent had felt it, had now known its enemy. From that day on, the skies trembled with expectation, for destiny had already been written in the prophecy of Ragnarok. At the end of times, the sea would rise, the skies would bleed, and the serpent would return. And so it was, when the apocalypse arrived, when the gates of hell opened, and Fenrir broke free. Jörmungandr emerged one last time. Thor faced him, and the two fought as if they were battling everything they had lost. The hammer flew, the fangs tore. Each blow echoed like the sound of the world breaking. At last, Thor defeated the serpent. It fell, but not before biting him, not before injecting enough venom to kill even the gods. Thor walked 9 steps and then fell. In the end, neither monster nor hero was spared. The serpent that had encircled the world had now broken it, and in the remains of what once was the universe, only silence remained, the same silence that existed before creation, and perhaps the same that precedes a new beginning. But one thing was clear. This is the creation of a fear, and every fear, sooner or later, returns home. And so the hero fell, and the monster was silenced. But perhaps the true ending is not in the battles, but in what remains after everything falls silent. If you've come this far, it's because you sense there's something more behind the myths, something that speaks of us, of the children who were cast aside, of the fears we create and later try to destroy, of the world breaking when we ignore what we swore to forget. In Mythology, the gods fall, the monsters weep, and the secrets of time resurface. If this touched you in any way, if some part of you has also been treated as a threat, then this channel is your home. Comment below what Jörmungandr represents to you. Like, share, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and join us, because here, myths are not ancient legends. They are mirrors of the present. Thank you for keeping Mythology alive, and until the next dive into the darkness of what we were and what we can still become.